Hey everyone, David here from Winter Moon Wargaming. As I'm editing this, I realized that our software dropped a chunk of Joe's audio, so we're going to join the podcast conversation midstream. Apologies for those technical difficulties. We'll try to avoid this in the future. Also, just want to say I was ridiculously tired for this cast, so my energy is kind of low. So again, thanks for bearing with us. We appreciate you so much being a Winter Moon listener, and thanks for being part of the project and subscribing.
Yeah, yeah. The Friday Heat was great. I got in like late Thursday night, and I was like, dang, because I worked a full day Thursday and then drove up. It was a
Yeah.
it's a 5.5 hour drive for me. Um, so I came in late Thursday night, grabbed my badge. Joe was kind enough to be. It was who was there just outside the convention, and he was like, "Yeah, Brian, just park your car. I'll drive your car around the block while you get your badge, and then I'll give your car back." And I was like, "That sounds awesome!" So I didn't have to go park somewhere. So it was helpful. But yeah, we started our game off. I did play another one of the Wampa guys as well. He was a guy from Wisconsin. His name on Longshanks is Sean R. Key. But he was playing Wookiee Battle Force.
Mm.
I think there's two Wookiee Battle Forces in the whole Adepticon, and I played both of them on Friday,
Wow.
back to back. And so we get to the table, and we played Close the Pocket and Surface Scan,
Mm.
and my list with Op Luke guys. I played Close the Pocket in 5 of my 7 games. Don't play Close the Pocket against Op Luke,
That's
please. Don't
bonkers.
don't do it. Don't let your opponent get that. If they have Op
Yeah.
Luke, don't give them Close the Pocket.
Yeah, it's like please stand in a circle around my op Luke so we can have a tea party.
Yeah,
You know?
don't do it, guys.
Yeah. So I can play I'm a Jedi and just dumpster your two best activations.
That's exactly like, oh man, just so many times, guys. I would start off. I would play standing orders, and I'd pop an HQ on my wedge speeder, and then I would give the one order to my other speeder that didn't have a pilot, but it had onboard comms, and it would pass it to Luke. So round
Right.
one, I'd always play standing orders. It was my 4 pip. Round two, I would always play Luke's 3 pip, Return of the Jedi, and go on to the point at the end of the round, and he'd push someone off, and I'd win the middle. And then round three, I am a Jedi, and I did that all 3 games on Friday. And it was just because all 3 games I played Close the Pocket on Friday.
Yeah. So by the
And it
time
was
your round three hits, everything's in position and you just slap
everything.
it with I'm a Jedi.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And then sleepers do work.
So
And
there's some takeaways that I'm just thinking as you're speaking. So it's like don't don't play a list or don't play an objective where Luke has like that concentration of enemies because it was really negative. Because not only do you get I am a Jedi, you also get served. Serve your master well. Because you're running mind trick, right?
oh yeah,
Oh yeah, easy serves, right? Because
yep,
it's like, oh, I'm just gonna mind trick something in range two, and then tell you to go attack, someone else in the back. Um, the other one was having that method of control on standing orders, like having that order replication that you're doing with onboard comms, so you'll have control over all your sensitive pieces.
yep,
So that's another, like, at some point I'll publish an article about time sensitivity because that's a basic concept people are gonna have to refamiliarize themselves with. I think because I think that style is coming back where
yeah,
like longer range pieces are having people are respecting that more and utilizing that more. And so like Joe was saying, you have double snails, you have double land speeder, so your double heavy is like I need to go like you have 12 acts, right?
yeah,
So I go 10, 11, 12 op Luke double speeder, you know, so or something along those lines. Not maybe not strictly speaking, but like it's so great that you have like these set piece plays that it's like I know exactly what I want to do and I have the ability to just go get it. And so that makes it once you have enough reps under your belt, it becomes really easy, and you don't have to sweat so much about like what's my opponent going to do. You just have this ability to like project. you can just, kind of like enforce your will on the board by having them give you the objectives that you want.
Right. Yeah, it was really funny because I was talking with Mike Berry and Evan Paul on their cast, and I told like Mike had mentioned that he's like, yeah, I play a list enough that I know exactly what command cards I'm going to use or exactly what command cards my opponents are going to use. And I kind of teased him a little bit about that. It's like I never know which command cards I'm going to use. Then here I am doing like the exact same pattern over and over and
Right.
over again because we were playing the exact same
That's
scenario.
Right. So it's like, why not?
That's what made it tough for my list, is because I kind of hate how good Vader's command cards are like all equally. I won't say they're equally good, but they're like all really good on their own in their own situation. So it's not as telegraphed as like maybe some other heroes are. Like Op Luke, you're like, this is the perfect turn to play I'm a Jedi. Nothing else makes sense. Vader is like, man, do I Master of Evil? Do I go Implacable? Do I want to go twice? Do I want to throw something in the air? Like, it's all so that I wish I had easier decisions sometimes on the command cards, but I can't complain because they're really strong. As long as Vader's alive, I'm happy.
Yeah, Vader's like the hardest carry in the game.
He's so good.
He's the hardest carry. Not just because his faction's bad. Oops, I said bad. Not because his faction's on the ropes right now. But just because of his command card power, the power level of his command cards is like through the roof.
That's why I called them. That's why I said B. You're saying A minus. They can't be bad and be an A minus. We're back to this art. No,
I know we're back to this again.
No, but anyways, Brian, I don't know. Yeah. Was there anything that stuck out in those games besides?
Well, just I mean that was kind of how round one went. I mean it was a brawl. Sean gave me a good brawl. Like I mean. The game ended. I killed like 450 something, and he killed like almost 400 points of mine. It was just like we kind of just brawled that out, and it was interesting because like usually as the day goes on, like my opponent's kill points continue to reduce after each round. So Sean killed the most of my list. All of that Friday. And then round two, I got to play Evan Paul, and he was running rookie spam as well, but he had flutters, whereas Sean didn't have any flutters. So my land speeders weren't quite as good against Sean.
Do you know the math off the top of your head, Brian? Because I remember I was there in the playing hall on Friday, and people kept saying like, "Why aren't you going to the convention?" I'm like, "Dude, all I do is play Legion. I don't care about anything else." So I'm sitting watching Legion all day. But Brian, how many Wookiees did you play in the first two turns there? Like, how many Wookiee models did you play against?
So many.
Like 85. Like it was nuts.
There's a ton of Wookiees. So many.
There's like only so many Wookiees in the tournament, and Brian he has to chew through like 180 wounds of Wookiees in the first two games.
I gotta ask you, Brian, like how was the chieftain in your game? Because that was I kept drawing a question mark. Like why not just take Chewie and save 10 points?
Why would you ever take Chewie over the chieftain?
Because you save 10 points and the bowcaster is better.
It's not better.
It's not?
No, it's
Isn't
the
it?
same.
Doesn't it have critical?
I mean,
okay, maybe I'm misremembering.
So well, it's so Chewie's bowcaster is 2 reds, 2 whites.
Yeah.
Whereas the Wookiee chieftains is
it's 4
blacks, but they're both surge to hit.
So the curve is different. The curve is slightly different then.
It's slightly different, but it's about the same average.
About the same, yeah.
Yeah, and then the chieftain's melee is so much better.
Yeah, it's Obi-Wan. Effectively, Obi-Wan without if you have duelists, it's basically Obi-Wan.
Chewie has critical 1 where the chieftain doesn't at ranged, right?
Okay, that's what I'm thinking. So
yeah,
it's a small difference.
It's a small difference, but Chewie doesn't have Agile 1.
That's true. Like, he doesn't have duelist.
To be honest, guys, like I played quite a bit of Wookiee Defenders like last year, and I just after playing it multiple times with Chewie and multiple times with Chieftain, like there's just I will never take Chewie in that again. Like
I agree with Brian. I feel like Chewie, if you're not leveraging Chewie's Guardian, then the Chieftain's just better.
Okay, I like 9 wounds over 7.
Yeah,
7 with Agile though.
That's
and
true.
surge and natural
Agile is
surge to hit.
helpful.
Yeah, and natural surge to block.
Yeah, but Evan was right though. That list doesn't have a command hand. Essentially,
Right.
it
Yeah.
just doesn't. I mean,
It's yeah,
demoralize is
it's
cool.
tough on commands. Yeah,
You
It
can
is.
do long gun spam and the 3-pip, and you can
and,
demoralize the crap out of people.
and
You could.
they need to buff the Wookiee command cards in my
They
opinion.
do.
They
Like
do.
Then
they're
hold
pretty
on.
weak.
The whole slate.
The generic Wookiee ones and the aren't there specific ones to the Battle Force as well, or no?
No, there's
No,
just
Oh,
there's
there's
just
not.
the 3
Maybe
Wookiee ones.
that's what I want. Like they need something more. But anyways.
Yeah.
I agree. I personally like. I mean, the chieftain didn't play a huge role in our game,
Hmm.
but just from my experience, I choose chieftain if I'm running Wookiee Battle Force over Chewie.
Hmm.
But I know everyone's gonna have their own preferences. I know
Yeah.
most people like Chewie. I would prefer having that strong melee with that
Yeah.
agile one.
My experience with the Wookiee Battle Force is an overrun coming at my face. That's basically what my experience with the Wookiee Battle Force is with my commandos, my rebel commandos. Back when I was playing Bright Tree, right?
Yeah.
So you have no defense against overrun as Bright Tree, 0.
Oh,
You basically have C-3PO surges, and that's it.
Yeah.
And yeah. Anyway, I'm kind of sidetracking us, but
how did round 3 go, Brian?
yeah.
It went good, but I didn't.
Oh, you had more on round 2. My bad.
Yeah. So I mean, Evan came up and Professor Snaped me, and I just danced on the table the whole time.
Budget Snape.
About rolling dice. No, me and Evan had a great time. We were laughing the whole time. It was great. Evan and I get along really well. He's such a cool guy. And then he wrote that hit article on me.
Yeah, what a jerk.
It was awesome.
The Bears got to eat.
I know the Bears got to eat. It was a great time. But yeah.
So just to background people, go read the Fifth Troopers April Fool's article on Brian. It's a fantastic hit piece.
It was a perfect hit piece. It was fun, but yeah. So the problem was that we did play close the pocket. We played sweep and clear, and so my flutters going last, or not my flutters, my land speeders going last, and just nuking down flutters. Scored sweep and clear for me round 1, which puts you up. I mean, sweep and clear with the double tapping land speeders at the end of round 1. Pretty good going up on those VPs early on. So poor Evan was fighting an uphill battle, and not just that, the table wasn't helpful for him. It was a really open table. And
wow!
He didn't have anything to answer to my range 4 stuff. So,
but you can't force push my Wookiees now.
Right.
It's like that's really going to matter when you just blow them off the table.
Yeah. So that was rough. But then game 3, I played against Goose. Geese King. Geese King.
Geese King. Yeah.
Oh, that's even better.
King of the geese.
That's awesome.
So people were in disbelief that this person. They were like, "Is that his real name?" And I was like, "Apparently."
That's awesome. He's a really cool guy. He was playing a Dooku Aquas, but he had double BXs in there with their poison, Viper swords and poison, and I thought that was cool tech. Definitely not the norm, which was fun. And he comes in. We play close the pocket and sweep and clear.
This one was on stream, by the way. So
this one was on stream.
You can find the VODs and catch Brian's game on stream.
Yeah, it's buried in there somewhere. I got to keep mining the 9 hours of footage for each individual game and uploading them.
Game 3 on Heat 2 on Friday. Maybe you'll have a chance of finding it.
Yeah, poor computer.
Anyways.
Yeah, it was good. He played Dooku Aquas, and he kind of loaded up one side when he realized I was only focusing on one side. So he started loading up Aquas and BXs and Grievous all on that side, and I was a little bit anxious because I kind of just ignored the other side of the board and let him have his naked B1s and his was it Kalani or his super tack was over there.
Yeah,
I couldn't remember if it was Kalani or just regular super tack, and I kind of just led him to that, and I was like, all right, well, I better kill these Aquas and these.
But
BXs.
How did that BX Saboteur do? Because he came in on Luke.
Yeah, came on Luke turn, was it turn 2? And
Beginning of turn 2, yeah.
beginning of turn 2, slapped 3 wounds and a poison on Luke.
Yeah.
I had a dodge, and it was a slap, and Luke was a little anxious there, but he knew he was safe because he didn't have force push, and I had a bunch of BXs surrounding me, so I knew Luke was all right. So
You just had to play really deliberate. Like I remember, I think I tuned into chat, and chat's like, "Oh no, Luke's like bad. This is horrible for Brian." I was like, "Oh, it's not good. You'd rather take 0 wounds, right? So
yeah,
like 3 wounds and a poison, but at the same time, like if you play deliberate with Luke and you have the force push advantage to no force push, you can keep him pretty safe.
yeah,
Luke's one
yeah.
of those guys that can do it.
Once they're in there and they're stuck with him, he's going to be pretty solid. You got your full of surprises to keep you alive. You got your I am a Jedi to keep you alive, and then you got your disengage to get out when you need to get out. And so, yeah, the 4 wounds hurt, but I knew that once he was stuck and without force push on the other side of the table, I was like, yeah, okay, that hurt, but we're gonna do some damage now. And my other stuff kind of went to town. The other problem is poor Goose. Like if you watch those rolls, man, my dice were so hot. So hot. Like, at one point, my fleets like double move into his Grievous and roll 7 out of 8 on those.
Yeah, I
white
was gonna
attack
say
dice.
they just popped off.
Yeah, it was it was rough for poor Goose.
Yeah,
It was
but that's
rough.
why fleets are good, is because they have charge and they have the high ceiling,
Yep,
and they're
yep.
cheap. They're like what, 40?
40 points, man.
Oh my gosh, that is so good. Such a good deal.
It's they're the best. Yeah, they're the best core unit.
They're just the best rebel core.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
you have the option of taking nothing, no upgrades, it's like the best unupgraded rebel core,
yeah. It
and
is.
it's like not particularly close.
Right, exactly. You do have to surround them with adequate threats. That's the problem. Is that
Yeah,
people want to run fleets and they're like, oh yeah, fleets are going to do my main damage. You can't have that mindset. And fleets are not going to do your main damage. If when
no,
the
it's
fleets
all
are the filler, that's when they're good.
yeah, it's all supplemental.
Yeah,
So it's like I have my big threats, my land speeders, my Luke. You know, they're the things that my opponent has to really fear. But then incidentally, I'm like, hitting you for like 7. It's like, well, those spikes are hard to handle,
yeah,
especially when you're trading up. Like,
yeah. Exactly. I mean, that's the biggest thing is the fleets they average. You have to remember that they average 3 hits. Like you
mm-hmm.
double move in with no aim with 8 white dice, they're going to average 3 hits.
God, that's so efficient.
Yeah, it's really efficient. But it's so that's the cool part is that you don't count on that. You're not like, okay, I have to do 3 wounds here, otherwise these fleets like if you're never
Right,
going to have that mindset. Like you're just like, I'm going to do double move in here and see what happens. Oh, I rolled 3. Great.
right.
Oh,
If
I
your
rolled
fleets have
5.
to clutch, you've probably already
Yeah,
lost.
because like a
Yeah.
lot of the value you're getting is you're tying up something in melee that you probably want to tie up in melee. And if you're not doing that, and or your fleets are not protected from getting shot, right?
Yep.
So like that's that's super good. Okay, that's super good. The attack is just icing on the cake. It's not really like their primary thing, right? Like you're getting all 3 at once. So you're gonna get value even if they only hit 1 or 2 hits.
And one thing that's that I would do that I think is really important for any naked core is it anytime I would move my fleets, I would move them in a position where they were a speed 2 from a POI or two speed 2s. So range 2 from a POI. Or range 2 that's like what 15 inches. I would make sure that they were 15 inches from a POI so that they could double move and get to a POI if I needed that. I didn't count on that ever. Like I didn't say like, oh, these fleets they have to get there next turn. Like that's not how you play it. If they have no suppression on them, then great, I can get to a POI if I need to. But you just positioning is so important for these objectives. Anytime I would move my fleets, I would put my range band out and be like, okay, I'm 2 moves from getting into scoring that POI. If he shoots them, then they can only get there once. That's not a big deal. But but if they're shooting at my fleets, then that's a win because they're not shooting at my other stuff. And so, just small things like that. Like there's just so many times where I would have fleets in position to double move onto a POI when I needed it because I planned it that way. And it's just that's just important. I don't know, strategic planning for games because the dice do happen, right? Like things go crazy where you lose a land speeder in one shot and
Oh yeah,
surprises.
yeah.
But those are things that you can expect playing this game, right? And so what you want to do is you want to set yourself up in ways that can mitigate those things. We're playing a dice game. Dice things are going to happen, but you want to make sure that you set yourself up to success as best you can. And so that's why I would always have my fleets speed or 2 speed 2s from a POI, just in case. Um, but I love the fleets. They did great. Goose played smart, but the dice were super against him. And we were playing close the pocket, and he didn't have force push. Those are all big problems when all of that happens together.
And he went all in on your Luke and kind of all in on that attack, and you survived and pushed through. And it just, I remember watching that game. It was just once you survived and started pushing through and like killed the BXs, Magdas are going down, Grievous is in the open. The writing started to be on the wall, from my perspective.
Yeah, and he put his Grievous. He put him in a position that he thought he was okay. He's like, okay, I can handle these two sleepers here, but he didn't think about. He'd forgotten that there was a sleeper also within striking distance that was behind a building.
Right.
And so when I pulled that sleeper cell out and it's like we're gonna shoot Grievous with 12 dice and an aim, he was like, oh, I forgot that those were there.
And I think his dodge was down at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, so he didn't have block.
Yeah, Grievous without block is very sad.
Yeah.
So yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so it was a solid game. It was my defense dice were super hot. So it ended up that I lost a sleeper cell, and I think that was it.
So Friday he so I went 3-0, you're now 3-0. Friday he we had to correct, we weren't sure cuz Nathan's not here to defend himself. Nathan did go. He went 2-1 on Friday. Yeah, I was looking at it. Yep, okay. And he lost to Mowgli. That's the game we were discussing, and so I'm not gonna take any of his thunder of talking about his games and the fun he had. I'm sure we're gonna be able to do that next time he's on the cast. But we did have an idea that came out of this Mowgli game that he just barely lost. It's a close one. So after we're done talking Adepticon, we have a new segment. Once in a blue moon, because there's a very niche interaction that came up in Nathan's game that I pointed out as I watched the end of the game, and we had kind of talked about it and laughed about it. So stay tuned for that at the end of this cast. So yeah, Wampa Squadron. Nathan is right. We each got to play a Wampa guy, and then another tidbit. We have Into the Moonlight is coming back soon with a Wampa Squadron player who finished top 8, Mr. Tom. So if you, Tom's joining us. So we're going to record that here in a couple of days. So that probably won't be out too much past when this cast gets released, hopefully. David, you also were at Adepticon, I think, right?
Yes, so, I was.
How did Thursday? Let's compartmentalize Thursday and Friday. How did Thursday and Friday go from your perspective?
Well, I mean, it was really cool to just like be back in the space because I had to miss it last year. So I was really grateful to be back. The Brits brought us all sorts of treats. There was like a cultural exchange going on at the streaming table where there was a the Brits brought like Tesco's custard creams and like Cadbury chocolate and like we were like what did we have like high chews. We had some other like more American snacks, but it was just like Nerds gummy clusters. we had those. Those are pretty good. I actually tried those for the first time. They're not bad. But like just in terms of like I'm nervous to say this because this could be a divisive take, but at the same time, I'm just gonna go out there and say it. Um, Sometimes in the early games, right, we have kind of the biggest like spread of people to choose from to be on stream, and maybe this is just my elitist tendencies, but there are some games where it's like this is not a world's level game that I'm watching right now. And there I had some feeling of that, but maybe that's just my own discontentment. I'm not sure, but I don't want to like bag on people. It's hard being on stream,
It's really hard.
It's there's lights, there's people watching, people are talking about your game. Sometimes the con is breaking down around you because it's the finals and everyone's packing up and there's a freaking forklift blowing smoke at you, blowing exhaust at you because they have to get out of there. So I don't mean to like bag on people and like be mean, but sometimes it's like in the early rounds, and I mean it got better over the course of time as the field got whittled down, but there's times where it's like that's the kind of stuff I want to see, and then you sort of it's hard to describe because there's like a certain sharpness to the movement and a certain like um
Predictability to the
well,
strategies
not
and
I
like
wouldn't say predictability. It's more like a certain like finesse that you can how it's like this person's played the game a while. This person
you're
really
like
practiced.
when you're watching someone play chess and they when they just move the pieces and hit their chess clock, you're like, this guy knows what he's doing,
Yeah,
right? Like
sort of like that. It's also like wow, that was a brilliant move. It's like the quality of the move or like the efficacy of every move gets heightened, and
so
it's like this is like brilliant play that I'm witnessing. I'm not it's not because sometimes I'm of course analyzing things in my head. I'm because I'm a player too, and I'm like poking holes in everything I see. That sort of critical analyst in my head is going off all the time. And I know if I use that voice all the time, it's going to drive people away because not everyone wants to hear the negativity all the time. So
well, that's why you need a good balance of the guys at the
yeah, that's
table, and
why I
I
got
think you
Zane.
had that. Yeah, of
That's why I
course.
got Zane. Zane's like the
And
complete opposite. He's like fun time. He's really cool. He does good work with the cameras. He facilitates a lot of stuff for me. Like it's really really cool to have Zane as like an asset to the stream and like just to the tournament in general. And like Zane, Zane, he's there for us. You know, so huge shout out to him and like
Yeah.
and also the That's No Moon guys because like we had some difficulty with the jet lag and everything like that. But they came over and they did an exemplary job casting as well. So and then props to Andy especially I think. Just because it was really funny. Like we thought the Brits were going to take it all, then they all went on the top 16. So
oh
the
yeah, that's
the,
actually we need to mention that, right?
the
Because
tables kind of turned on them going into the top 8. Yeah,
we got to go both sides here because they get kudos on Thursday and Friday because they actually got an Adepticon medal. The medals were super cool. Very
yeah. I love that about Adepticon.
yeah, yeah. So the medal they gave out a medal to the winner of each heat as well. And Kevin Jones, who one of my Vader Dewback friends, we got to vibe on the Vader Dewback play. So I ended up finishing third. He got first, so he got the medal. I was only mildly jealous, but one of the Brits gets the medal on Thursday. Kevin Jones with his Vader Dewbacks, and then Jeff Porritt, another one that flew down from
Yeah.
the UK. Now Kevin, I believe,
Ooh, best rebel.
was
Yeah.
okay. Sorry. Anyways, so Jeff, another UK guy, won the top heat on Friday. So now the Brits, they came in with what 5 or 6 guys. They've got both top heats Thursday and Friday. They're primes. They're looking good. They didn't brag too much. We had a good time about it. But then on Saturday, none of them made it to the top 8, and some of us rejoiced, some of us rubbed it in, others, whatever. I don't know. There's some sort of rivalry. I don't get it.
However you slice it, it's a storyline for sure.
I love the British guys. They're all so cool, so fun to hang out with. I'm excited to see them at World Team Championships because they're just
Yeah.
so much fun to be around, and they're great players. And so it's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
WTC is in Sheffield this year.
Yep, it's in Sheffield, WTC. There's apparently a rivalry coming off the last WTC in Spain. I don't know. Austin Miller is making me think like this Legion rivalry started over 250 years ago with the Revolution. Like I don't even know what's going on, but they have a good time with it.
Him and Olly prank each other. That's
Yeah.
a tradition.
That's awesome.
Just for those of you who listen and don't know that.
You were mentioning about the medals, Joe. I went to a local just this week and was talking to my buddy Brent, who was there playing a game.
Did you wear your medal?
No, but I did bring it so I could show him.
Yeah.
And it was funny because I was like, he wanted to see it, and I got out, and he was like looking at it, and he was playing Unlimited with the guy, and the guy Unlimited looks at it and he's like, "That's cool." He's like, "I got like 7 of those at home," and I was like, "Well, this is my first one. I thought it was pretty cool." And he's like, "Yeah."
Well, first of all, I don't know who that guy was, so I'm not going to call the guy names, but I am going to say, not cool, dude. Like that, you didn't have to act like that. Come on, not cool.
Who cares?
Like, oh.
Well, and I'll tell you this: I saw a lot of those medals walking around Adepticon but every game is different, right? So in Legion, there was only 7 of them handed out to 130-ish players, and some of these other games they have maybe there's 10, maybe there's 20 factions in that game, so there's 20 medals, right? Like every game's different, gets a different medal. There's different level. Like, come on, dude. Why are you gonna try to?
It's all right. It was
poop
good
on Brian's parade here. I think it's a cool medal. Yeah.
My ego needed it, Joe.
No. Anyways, yeah.
I have one too for streaming. But I got
you got one for streaming, Dave?
I got one for streaming a while back, but I felt really lucky because I didn't expect it. And,
that's cool. Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah, they're Adepticon takes care of us. That's really one of the.
Well,
the cool
it sounds like
they work with AMG. They work with Hank. Hank's just really good at being in charge of everything. He's really, really good at that.
Sounds like the Star Wars Unlimited player doesn't value his medals, so they don't mean a whole lot to him. So, but they mean a lot to you guys, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
It's probably a good chance. I'll start this out, David. I'll let you take it away. Brian,
Sure.
You mentioned range 2, so you mentioned 15 inches specifically, right? 15 inches is range 2 plus a half range, which is 3 inches away from a POI. Yeah. So I'm going to put the pressure on myself here. I'm finishing up an article that's talking about those sort of things. It's breaking down some of the basic tactics with movements and measurements. I hope I have some charts in there to kind of people can reference. And hopefully for, the people that don't have all that stuff memorized, it'll be a helpful read. And I'll have some tactic stuff in there too. So I'm saying that to put the pressure on myself to close it out. I'm about 80% done with it. And so you'll find that on Substack. So David, please, I think we're at the point where we can talk about what else we have going on.
Yeah, so we have a Substack. That's where a lot of articles we do are published. It's wintermoonwargaming.substack.com. And we have Instagram as well, wintermoon_wargaming, Facebook group as well. We have an active public Discord as well. I'll put the link in the description. But yeah, there's all kinds of ways to talk to the team, communicate, talk to your community surrounding Winter Moon, and then we're gonna have we're lucky we got to interview Will Schick at Adepticon, but I'll spoil this now. The Wills are gonna come and talk to us after the April 15th update.
Oh yes,
they're gonna come and talk to us. We're gonna have them in for an interview as well. So I'll sneak peek that. We're gonna talk to them and talk once we have the update in our hands.
So we're gonna record
just
we're gonna record that one next week, right, David? Next Friday.
Yeah, next week is happening. Yeah.
We might have to burn some midnight oil and get that one turned around quick.
Oh yeah, that's definitely gonna happen. That's gonna be one of those probably put it in the editor as soon as it gets wrapped up. But that's kind of what's going on with us right now, and yeah, it's Adepticon was just really, really cool, and I can't stress enough. Like, if you're hesitant to go, just go. And the Baird Center was a great new location. Could actually go get food. You know, it was like Third Street Market Hall or something. Like 15 minutes down the street. It was really nice.
I have never been to Milwaukee. At least the area we were
Yeah,
at
me either.
downtown on the water, like seemed like a great place to walk around and enjoy a city. It really did. So I enjoyed the little bit of Milwaukee I saw.
Yeah, me too. I thought it was really neat, and I also saw like a city hall with this huge clock tower, and like
Very
you know
cool
there was
buildings. Yeah.
nice Mediterranean food, and it was just really, really nice town.
Yeah.
I'm not used to the cold, but it's still really, really good town. There was like I forget what day it was. It was like unseasonably warm, but like I remember walking around like a heavy coat just because it's kind of a cold city, but really, really nice town. Totally good location for Adepticon. Really, really smart move by Hank, I think.
I loved it. I love the spacing inside the Baird Center is awesome.
hmm Speaking of which, like AMG really put their foot forward on this event. I mean, that's got to be like some huge marketing expenditure. Like it's got to be in the multiple tens of thousands.
Yeah, those massive Legion banners that were just like lining those big columns were gorgeous, and like all of the art or the minis that were painted up, or the future Legion minis that were
Right,
there,
the new releases or the
new
future
releases that were
releases.
coming up. Man, everything looked so cool.
Really was. And then like you could just talk to the AMG staff. They were just there. So like I got to talk to Ben Ransom, who like basically was the lead of developing the objective system that we have now, and like I got to talk to Will, of course, and then talk to Jeremy Button, who was like the organized playhead, and there's lots of people, and they're just there, and you can just talk to them. It's really cool because they seem to be really like shifting more to like a forward facing, kind of like high communication, which is I think what the community's been craving. I don't think it was as frequent or as they were as accessible. It didn't feel at least like they were as accessible before, but this time with the new relaunch, it's like they're very, very accessible. They're throwing their weight behind Legion. It's like it's really like I just think it's a really good sign for us as the community that they're really interested in like supporting this game.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. It's been a pretty stark change, which is really cool and exciting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I do want to talk about one game on Saturday. I mean, I know we don't want to go for forever. I've had some great games on Saturday. I played against one of my buddies. We had a team kill on Saturday morning, or I played against my buddy Seth. And then I played against Jordan, Luminous Gaming, from Florida.
Yep,
Super,
Tampa.
yeah, so super fun guy. We had another fun game. One of the few non-close the pocket games. We played Breakthrough, which was really cool. Um, but round three of Saturday, I played against Armand, who Joe had talked about earlier with his stats. Guys,
I told him to. I told Brian it was scary. I told him.
Armand killed more points than anyone else against me in the entire tournament, and all of my sleepers were dead round two.
Wow.
Staps will murder sleeper cell. So
Why do you think that is? Is it just
it's because
the critical?
their threat range,
Okay.
they can fly into getting good shots on you because they can pick their angles. They can go before you activate because CIS oftentimes has really good activation control, and you
Right.
can get good activation control with like their one pip that gives you a vehicle, right?
Right. Mechanized incursion. Yeah.
Exactly, mechanized incursion. And so I think he played mechanized incursion round two and was able to just fly each step in, take an aim, like a move, aim shot into each of my sleepers, and cohere in a way that he could see all of my models, or at least five of my models, and that's all you need. You got five. You got an aim shot. You got critical two, with 6 black dice and a potential aim. Or no, he had link targeting as well, so he had 2 aims. So yeah,
So
so he was juicing those hits in, and sleeper cells just roll white.
I gotta
die.
I gotta plug my thing again, guys. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
A stap. How far does a stap move on a speed 3 move? Full speed 3.
Full
Oh,
speed
shoot.
3. Is it 10 inches?
No,
It's pretty close.
Slightly less.
Okay, so just check out my article because you're gonna find it in there. Anyways, so no, but it's 9.5. It's around 9.5. These are approximations, right? But that's gonna ballpark it. But the point being is double move is 19 inches. Range 3 is another 18. That's 37 inches. That's the entire board.
It's range
you
6.
Cannot, unless you full line of sight block, they can shoot the other edge of the game board off deployment, right? So why are sleepers scared of them? Because they're going to be able to shoot them.
Yep.
They're going to be able to shoot them unless you have line of sight blocks.
Right.
Now, it might not be always advised that they double full move and shoot because they're going to get absolutely obliterated the next turn. But it's something you have to be concerned about. And a sleeper likes to go out on the flank. They can't go on flank if there's staps that are going to come up next.
No, the staps will just turn and shoot them.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, so I was surprised because I've not been impressed with staps in general in the game because they just melt so fast if you shoot them before they go. But I didn't have time to focus on the staps because he had 2 snails in my face that I had to deal with. Otherwise, my land speeders just die.
Did you kill any of the staps, Brian?
I ended up killing 2, I think.
Okay. I actually killed 0 against my game in Armand. I think I killed 0 staps. I had 2 down to a model. Like taking the dice off is important.
Yeah.
And he made a comment at the end. He's like, "Well, at least that's the first time a stap has lived, and all 3 of them were alive. I think, if I recall."
Yeah.
Because they typically are very glass cannony, and you have to play them very carefully.
But honestly, if you're trading staps for a sleeper cell, then it's worth the trade.
So. Is it though? Because it's like 75 versus 80.
Well, but generally, if your stap lives on 1 wound, it can now limp away.
Right, it can run
freaking 30 inches away, and now it's still an activation that's alive. It can fly in and contest the POI.
I'm not talking about point for point comparison here, Dave. I'm talking about impact on the game.
That's fair. I was just poking that sleepers are still 75.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not for long. Maybe we'll know something next week.
Yeah, maybe we'll know on the 15th. Yeah.
Yep.
So my first, was that your first game on Saturday, or that was your last game?
That was game 3. Okay. Yeah, that was it was the toughest one. Armand was a great player, smart guy, just super fun to play with too.
Man, we got 2 more to talk about.
Man, Armand, by the way, he went 4-2 on the tournament, and I think he definitely finished above me in the final standings on Saturday. But both losses to Winter Moon. So Armand, man, I hope you like the cast still. I don't even know if he listens to it, to be honest. But
yeah. So Saturday was good. And then I do want to talk a little bit about my game with Tristan, which was on Sunday, round 1. Tristan was like super, super good Rebel player.
Wait, hold on, Brian. Can I talk about Saturday real quick before you get into your top 4 glory?
Yes. Sorry.
Okay. No, so I just want to mention. I do want to mention my games because I had a couple really good ones. My first game, so again, Vader Dubaks, and I go up against Dooku, Maul, Asajj.
Oh,
I was scared. I was scared, and I've said this. I was scared all 3. This is my 4th matchup that I'm like, oh shoot, this is scary. But Vader and Dubaks don't like to see 3 Force users and 2 of them with Makashi.
No way.
They don't. I was scared. My turn 1 was really, really good. We played Intercept. And my opponent, his name was Dean. He put Asajj on 1 flank, and once he put Asajj on one of the flank, like far corners, I just put Vader on the other one because Asajj trades up into Vader into a Force user so well that I couldn't risk that. And then he put Dooku against my Vader, and he was really aggressive with the Maul, and I just force pushed Maul on turn 1. I didn't burst the speed out there. And then once turn 2, I literally just ran away from Dooku and ignored Dooku. and that's how I tried to play it. So that game went pretty well for me. He ended up conceding, although the VPs were close after turn 3. He probably was only going to live with like 2 units, and then I played. And I deserve this because I was bragging about it. Austin Miller, right? So Austin's shout out to his girlfriend. I think is man, you got to cut this out. Is it
Jaleesa?
Jaleesa, right? Okay.
Yeah.
I have to mention that because I was chit chatting with her after the first win on Saturday, and I said, "Hey, just so you know," I was like, "Did Austin win?" He's like, "Yeah, Austin won." I was like, "Okay, cool." I said, "Just so you know, I'm 2-0 against Austin lifetime." And she's like, really? You know, because of course, like Austin's amazing. He's great, right? And so I've always had that in my back pocket. I beat him once in Yavin base on TTS. Hey, but it was a game that mattered. It was like semifinals of Yavin base, and it was 2-2, and whoever won it, right? So that it was a competitive match. And then I played him in the American Team Championship in Tennessee. That Brian, myself, and Tyler Carnes went down and did really well, and we ended up winning that tournament, and I beat Austin there. So both my wins are team tournament wins, so it's not the same. And I told her that, and then right after I get done joking about that, and Austin kind of chuckles about it, pairings come out, and I'm playing Austin. and the first thing that came to my mind was, oh, I'm gonna lose my undefeated record. And so it was. I do want to talk about this game because it was a super close game, and Austin was playing Rebels, double bus, triple sleepers, op Luke, right? And my whole thought of playing Vader Dewbacks is that it has a chance. It actually does things against this list, right? Because the flamethrowers love to shoot the sleepers. I got the Ion Snows. Like I can threaten Rebels. And it ended up we also played intercepts. I made one mistake. I want to say medium mistake. I don't want to say it's a small mistake. I confused my dewbacks on which one had my intercept token, my intel token, and I actually lost out on a VP on one of my turns by taking the wrong one in. But Austin played amazing. We ended up getting time called on turn 4. I think he was up by 1 or 2 VPs. And looking at it, I had a chance to win turn 5. We both kind of talked it out. Like I probably would have won turn 5, 70-30. So that was tough. The time got called with a few activations to go, but super close game. Austin knocked me out. Well deserved. He outplayed me. And then my last round. Oh man, I forget. I have to say the guy's name because he absolutely put a whooping on me. He absolutely put a freaking whooping on me. I got to get the guy's name. So he was playing Boba Din. Hold on, I gotta find it. He was playing also Dewbacks. He had 3 Dewbacks, Boba and Din, and I think Krennic, right? So it's Dewbacks versus Dewbacks. And I got diced pretty hard, to be fair. But he also outplayed my strategy wasn't great, and I ended up having to concede. Like he would have nearly tabled me. And so maybe I was upset that I got knocked out or whatever, but he put a whooping on me.
It's not like
Jeff D-Sting with totally outplayed my dewbacks with his dewbacks. Yeah. So
it's not hard to imagine, like, you get knocked out and you go on tilt a little bit, and then it's like, well,
I burst the speeded Vader on turn 2, and he died at the end of turn 2. Let's just put it that way.
Oh,
so it was a bad play on my part, but with every bad play, your opponent has to take advantage of it, and he played it really well. So I don't want to take anything away, but his snows, by the way, did roll 7 natural crits against me on one of my attacks.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if you know this. Oh no, not natural, because he had critical 1.
Oh yeah, but it was 7 crits.
It was 7 crits with like a critical 1. Yeah.
God.
They only have 7 dice. No, they had an extra body. So there was one that wasn't a crit. Yeah. Anyways,
crazy.
But anyways, yep, he smoked me. So now we're done with Saturday. I finished 4-2. Brian, take us away to your Sunday games.
Yeah, so Sunday morning I got to play against Tristan, Floor Basher. He's from North Dakota. Super cool guy. He was there. He and his dad both played in the event, and he and I played Sunday morning. We did play. We played shifting priorities and recon mission. And so that was yeah, it was a great game. There's a couple of key things. Like I feel like my fleets were um, mostly the MVP in this game because it looked a bit scary. And the way that he positioned was really smart, um, and he was laying into my ATRTs, doing some good damage, and he just smoked one of my land speeders pretty quick. He had Bistan Pathfinders with a with their Bistan's ion gun, really good into my land speeders. He had a giant Ewok squad, and he had a sleeper, were his special forces slots, and he also had ion MPLs on his rebels, and so he was ready. He was ready for those land speeders, and he did smoke one of them pretty quick. Um, the other one, Wedge was able to live until the end of the game, but I think he lived to the end of the game. He kind of hobbled along. He got damaged pretty good. But what the biggest turner, though, I think was round 3. I was able to double move a fleet unit into his Biston Pathfinders and save Wedge on my land speeder, which made a massive difference because Bistan was just going to nuke him down, and Pathfinders don't really like getting charged by fleets. I think I took 3 of them out with a fleet charge, and it was just tying those guys up was a nightmare. And so over in that corner, he had Han, he had Chewie, and he had the Bithstan Pathfinders, and we had 2 fleets that just slap fight each other. It was like watching Napoleon Dynamite and his brother Kip fight each other. They're in the corner just slapping each other the whole game. I don't think they ended up either. They didn't kill each other at all. Like,
Han got desperate and was trying to. Your ATRTs saved pretty well, if I remember. They saved pretty decent, or at least one of them did.
Yeah,
and Han got desperate and couldn't do any wounds to him over.
Yeah, it was hard. I got my Luke in a position where I am a Jedi'd his Commander Luke and his Chewbacca, and that made a big difference that round. So he couldn't get some big attacks off. He needed Chewie to get a shot off on my sleepers in the middle to keep them suppressed from being able to move onto the POI. But when Chewie couldn't attack, they could do that. And there's just a lot of things. A strafing run came in clutch. I had a lot of opponents ask me, like, why do you have strafing run when you could have cunning deployment? Because strafing run panics people off POIs in a corner, and I don't have to worry about it. And so I strafing run his Ewoks that were off in a corner, scoring his POIs, or it was his fleets, one of those two. And so they didn't get that point. That was a big deal. It was a great game. Tristan played it smart, but getting those fleets in there into those Pathfinders was a huge, huge turn to the game. So, and then I got to play my buddy Trent.
Yep. On stream.
On stream in the semifinals. So this is fun because Trent and I played against Trent and I were like tweaking our lists, and we were playing each other. We played 4 times. He played against my Luke double bust list into his Dooku Aquas. He played against I had a Boba double land speeder list that I ran twice against his Dooku Aquas, and then he played against Luke double land speeder into his Aquas, and I won all 4 of those games. And then we go on to stream, and Trent's like, and we get there, and he's like unloading his stuff, and I was like, what are those Decas doing there? You have Decas now? And he's like, yeah, and I have 12 acts, because he had 11 all the previous times. And I was like, son of a gun. It's like, he changed your list up on me, and he's like, you only just noticed? He's like, I thought you would have scouted it out last night. And I was like, no, man, I just went to bed. and so we played it out, and we both played our 4 pips on round 1, and he didn't. I got the roll. I won the roll off, so I had to place my unit first. And he's like, yes, and like does like this whole like circle before he comes back. And I was like, dang it, that actually makes a massive difference in our
It's a
game.
big difference. It's a big difference.
It's
Yeah.
like such a huge difference that I couldn't place my my land speeders in a way his aquas would be able to get to them. And so I could go up and I could double tap one aqua, but then depending on how much wounds I took on that double tap, his aquas could just kill it. And I didn't want to take that risk. And so the way that the table is set up, I split my land speeders, which in retrospect, in hindsight, that was a mistake. I should have had. I threw one of my land speeders way out on a wing, and I should have just kept it tight with the other one, and just kind of start winning on attrition, and just left a fleet there or something. And anyways, it was a great game. It was so fun. I don't know. Dave could hear us talking on stream, but like there's multiple times it's like, dang, Trent, I love playing you, man. Because Trent and I play it all the time, and it's just every single game is so like it's such a high level game. I love playing Trent because it gets me better, and when I lose, it makes me want to win more. Like makes me want to like work harder, and it's just like it was just a great game. We ended up tying on POIs. It was Recover Research, which I had in my deck, and I realized that I think I'm gonna, that's definitely coming out. I didn't realize how much that would hurt me in my setup. Now, Luke really likes to have focus points and Recover the Research. I always thought Luke would be great on Recover Research because he can go to one of theirs and take someone off. But if they have someone that's diving that Luke wants to avoid, Dooku, Luke does not want to hang around Dooku very often because, yeah, he can get off an I am a Jedi and he can do a lot of damage with strength with Son of Skywalker. But Dooku surges in melee, and he has Makashi, and he's got his 2-pip that takes away your order. And there's like a lot of things that Dooku does that Luke does not like, and so Luke did not want to hang around Dooku, and because of that, Recover Research was a bad choice. And even though that Trent and I like we've had lots of duels with Dooku and Luke. He loves Dooku and I love Luke, and so we do all the time. But I think I should not have had that in my battle plan. I think I should have put in shifting priorities instead. I think my list likes that better on a middle focal point. But Trent played excellent. It was great. I was really excited for him to go on and win it all because he beat me, and then he didn't.
So, wait, did Trent got for? I don't think we mentioned this. He won the medal for top 64. He won the top 64 heat. I believe there was a medal for that he got.
Oh yeah, did he get that?
And then he also got best CIS because, of course, he went on to the final and lost to Isaiah Wallace, who surprised us with the GAR double ISP Obi-Wan list and smashed the tournament. So, yeah, that's congrats to Isaiah. Trent did amazing. I wanted to highlight 3 of the top 8, Brian. I'll let you talk about them. So Tyrus, Trent, and yourself, all hailing out of Indianapolis. We played pretty good Legion in Indy, I heard.
Yeah, it was awesome. We're super pumped to see that, and especially with the final standings, having 3 of us in the top 5 is pretty sick.
I believe, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Trent and Ty both are part of what they call themselves the 317th group up on the north side of Indy, and they're just really fun group of guys. Great.
Yeah,
we spar with them all the time, and there's a fun rivalry. It's like a silly rivalry because really we're all indie. Like we all just hang out. Some people take the rivalry way more seriously than others, and whatever. It's fun.
Brian and I I'm sure others too. We've joked with Trent for like 2 years now about, hey, grab an Indy Garrison shirt. You're coming down to the South Side. We want you because he's the talent. The writing was on the wall with how good he was playing, and every time he's just like hard pass. Hell to the no. No, not going to happen. Not in a million years. So, yeah, they're a prideful bunch. on the north
They're
side.
great. They're
Yeah.
super fun. We love that they're close and that we love them hanging out with them. I love both Ty and Trent. They're just super fun guys to be around. Ty's sarcasm, if you ever play against him, his sarcasm is hysterical. He'll say things and keep a straight face, and it's just like you have to listen to him because he's hilarious. It's just really fun.
David, anything stick out on Saturday or Sunday that you hadn't already mentioned? I know you had Andy casting with you for the rest of the tournament. For a lot of them, Zane, of course.
Yeah.
Anything stick out from the games or the festivities?
Well, I mean, Brian getting his land speeder one tapped, which is just absurd to me. It's like, why? Like, just why? It brought me flashbacks from Invader League many years ago when Bosk one tapped my land speeder. Back when the land speeder was new.
I thought about that, and I don't. So one thing I love about Legion is that, even though there's dice involved and there's some IRG or some RNG and stuff like that, right? There's some randomness to the. Yeah. But to be honest, like my speeder shouldn't have never been there. It should not have been on that side of the board, and so it is. Like when those things happen, like that's my fault. That's not. You don't blame dice for that because my speeder shouldn't have been there.
That's right.
And so Trent took advantage of that and he played smart. And
it just happened to be a really hard punishment.
Him just sitting there and taking standbys. Your speeder can't come over that wall.
Nope.
It was like, yeah, it's not like a crazy thing that like no one else would ever think of, but like that was the right play and he played it and you couldn't budge. You had to turn around and go, and then boom.
Yeah.
And then he got caught.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it time for Brian coined the segment? Is it time to do our little once in a blue moon?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Okay. All right. So like any of our segments we come up with, we have to have it moon related. So good job on that one, Brian. That's perfect.
Yeah, so, well done.
We were discussing we've had a lot of you guys that listen talk about how much you like the tactics and the things like that, and that's kind of our identity with the cast. So this segment here, hopefully it can be a common occurrence. It's like a niche or obscure tactic that you can use in Legion that might not come up too often, but when it does, it can be a big brain play. So what inspired this was actually Nathan's game against Mowgli. I alluded to it, right? And to put a long story short, they were playing Bring Them to Heal. That's the one where whichever army has more units with suppression equal to their courage gets the other player gets the VP. You guys know what I'm saying. So there was a point in the game where if Nathan put one more suppression on an enemy unit, he would have won the VP swing and potentially won the game off tie breaks. And this was at the very end of the game. And he took an Ion Spider shot and he shot Rebel Vets, right? So he had Ion Spider, he took an aim and he shot. Now, when he took the aim, he was thinking, I want to make sure I get hits because I have to do a suppression to win the game. The Rebel Vets had a dodge. I don't think the dodge mattered. But they were in heavy cover. So they had low profile activated, right? And I believe Nathan ended up rolling like a crit in 2 hits. So they actually called a judge over to see if low profile was optional, if I remember. Now that's not the tactic, but we'll get there. Mm-hmm. So Mowgli was trying to not use low profile. If you're not catching the drift here, the vets dying is what Mowgli wanted. He wanted his own unit to die because when they die, they are removed. Their suppression is removed. They don't count towards Bring Them to Heal. On the flip side, Nathan wanted to ensure they get a suppression, but he did not want to kill them, right? And so I think I walked up at the end. I didn't see it play out, but Nathan was describing. He's like, "Yeah, I got so unlucky because all I need was his vets to block 1 out of 2, something along these lines, or not roll a crit because the crit goes through the cover, right?" And so he rolled 0 cover, and he ended up the vets ended up like perfectly dying, right? Because one went away to low profile, and then the 2 that went through, he went 0 for 2. Now, if he wouldn't have rolled a crit. That would have been another cover save. If he would have rolled 2 hits or less, they would have been guaranteed to live, right? So I said, Nathan, did you have an aim? He goes, yeah, I had an aim, but I had a hit and a crit. I didn't want any more hits. I was like, well, so here's the tactic, right? I said, well, why didn't you re-roll your hits to try to get blanks? And he goes, what? Oh my, why didn't I think of? And so I think Mowgli was listening. There's a couple other people there. They're like, dude, that's a genius. I was like, I've been thinking of this tactic for so long. I've utilized the tactic. Another place that comes into play is when a force user wants to go into melee and you happen to have an aim and you want to make sure they live on 1. I have used it once before I've rolled 5 hits on a force user. I'm like, I want to try to do 3 because 3 is the right number, right? And then you don't have to pierce, etc. Right? So right. I've used it before, but in that situation, Nathan could have re-rolled a crit and a hit, and as long as he only got 1 hit, and 1 blank, or 1 crit, 1 blank, he would have been guaranteed that the vets don't die, and that he gets the VP, and that he subsequently wins the game. Right? So the tactic being using your aims to try to get less hits sometimes can be the play. It was just the perfect roll down. You actually want to hit less. So that's the once in a blue moon. Use an aim to get less hits, and that's the perfect illustration for that tactic. So, anyways, that's the tactic. What else do we got for the cast, Dave?
I think we're ready to wrap this up. So I just want to say thanks to you both for being willing to share all your experiences at Adepticon, and of course, I have to huge thank you to I have to thank a bunch of people, right? Hank, for running the whole thing, AMG for being awesome and putting their best foot forward with this event, Zane, Andy, Olly, basically anybody that helped with the stream, Clint, Erin, all the people on Winter Moon, who are making this possible. There's a lot of volunteering that's going on that goes into this, and so we don't function without that. So it's just tremendous, and I'm just really happy that Adepticon went as well as it did. I'm still recuperating. I'm still battling a lung thing, but I have a doctor's appointment soon. But anyway, I just wanted to say thanks everyone for listening. Adepticon was awesome, and thanks everybody that bought a beanie. Thank you, Joe, for making that happen as well. And then
we got more to sell. We
got more to sell. We got some more, and I got to give away a couple too, because that was some of our giveaway prizes.
Nice.
So I got to mail those out. But anyhow, that's all I got. Thanks everybody for listening. This has been Winter Moon Wargaming, and we'll see you next time.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.